I want to tell you about this incredible story. It's about a family farm that was right on the edge of going under, and how 5 really simple, fundamental changes didn't just save it, they completely turned it around. And we're not talking about fancy technology or complicated spreadsheets here. This is a story about getting back to the absolute basics.
And this is really where it all begins, with a farmer who was just at his breaking point. I mean, can you imagine that feeling? Your costs are through the roof, production is down, and everything your family has built is just slipping away. The stakes for him could not have been any higher.
So right before he made the call that would have ended it all, he gave himself one last shot. Just 1 month, a 30-day experiment. He was going to commit to 5 simple back-to-nature changes and just see if he could turn the ship around. It was his final Hail Mary pass to save his farm.
So what was really going on here? What was the problem that pushed the farm right to the edge? Well, it was a crisis that a lot of farmers face. Costs were just spiraling out of control, while the milk tank, it just wasn't filling up. The basic math of the whole operation was broken, and honestly, he just couldn't see a way out.
And this, right here, was the light bulb moment. The farmer had this huge realization. What he thought was doing everything right, it just wasn't working. It wasn't enough. So he decided to stop looking for some complicated, expensive solution. Instead, he decided to get back to the fundamentals, the simple, daily habits that actually respect the cow.
Okay, so this brings us to the very first big change, a habit that totally flipped his whole approach to feeding. He basically decided to stop thinking like a guy just filling a trough and start thinking more like a restaurant manager who's gunning for a 5-star review.
The new philosophy was so simple, but it was a total game changer. Do everything you can to maximize a cow's natural desire to eat. That meant no more empty feed bunks, because that just creates stress and competition in the herd. The goal was to have fresh, high-quality food right there for them, pretty much 23 hours a day.
And check this out. Here's the direct payoff. The rule of thumb he started following was that for every single extra pound of quality dry matter a cow eats, she can give you back up to 2 more pounds of milk. It just goes to show, the secret isn't just about feeding more, it's about feeding smarter. So how do you actually do it? Well, first off, he made sure that feed was available pretty much around the clock. Second, something as simple as pushing up the feed every couple of hours, it encourages the cows to get up and take another bite. And third, he really focused on highly digestible forage to keep their digestive systems, their rumen, healthy and working efficiently. All right, let's move on to the second habit, because this builds right on top of the first one. See, it's not just about having food around all the time. It's about being super precise with what's in that food. This is where he stopped guessing and started getting really scientific.
He really zeroed in on a 2-step approach. First, he made sure to balance the key amino acids, the essential building blocks for making milk protein. Second, he started paying way closer attention to critical minerals and vitamins. And the result? Well, the cow's body just becomes incredibly efficient. It stops wasting energy trying to process extra stuff it doesn't need, and instead, it puts all that energy right where you want it, into the milk tank.
And get this is where you see the amazing ripple effect. Experts say that for every extra pound of milk you can get from a cow when she's at her peak, well, that can translate to over 200 extra pounds for her entire lactation period. It's just a small, precise change that has this massive long-term impact.
Now for the third habit, and this is where we shift gears a little bit. We're moving away from nutrition and more into psychology. Because cows, they are creatures of habit. Any little disruption to their daily routine causes stress. And as any good farmer will tell you, stress is an absolute production killer.
So he put this rock-solid daily routine into place. Milking happens at the exact same time, every morning, every evening. Feeding happens right after. And a huge goal was to make sure the cows were never away from their pen, away from their food, their water, their beds, for more than 4 hours total in a single day. For a cow, a calm, predictable day is a productive day. Simple as that. So how do you even know if all this routine stuff is working? Well, he learned this simple, brilliant visual cue. When you look out at your herd while they're resting, if at least half of them are just peacefully chewing their cud, that's it. That's the ultimate sign that you've got a relaxed, healthy, and productive group of animals. Okay, so the final 2 habits are really connected. You can almost think of them as 2 sides of the same coin. It's all about a total focus on the cow's well-being, which means paying close attention to their physical space and their individual behavior. This, again, was a huge mental shift for him. The farmer stopped seeing cow comfort as some kind of nice-to-have luxury. He
He started treating it as an absolute, non-negotiable cornerstone of his entire operation. Because a happy, comfortable cow is a productive cow. End of story.
So when we talk about comfort, it really boils down to this one number. A cow should, ideally, be resting for 12 to 14 hours every single day. The more time she can spend lying down in a clean, dry, comfortable spot, the better her production is going to be. Simple things like adding more fresh bedding made a world of difference.
And this leads right into the fifth and final habit. He just started paying closer attention. He began actively watching the herd every single day, looking for the slightest limp or sign of heat stress, testing the forage quality, perfecting the milking hygiene to prevent infection, and just making sure they always had a comfortable place to rest. It's all about catching those small problems before they turn into big, expensive ones.
So the month is up. He stuck to these 5 habits like glue. The 24/7 buffet, the smart nutrition, that predictable routine, total comfort, and close observation. The 30-day experiment was over. It was time to look at the results.
And that's the big question, isn't it? After all that effort, after getting back to basics and focusing completely on what the cows needed, did it actually make a difference to the bottom line? Did it work?
The result was, well, it was staggering. Milk production was up by 20%. In just 1 month, by focusing on these simple, fundamental habits, he pulled off a massive turnaround and saved his farm.
And this is really the core lesson of this entire story. The success didn't come from some magic bullet or a pricey new piece of tech. It came from a renewed, deep, and respectful focus on the animal herself, making sure her feed, her routine, and her comfort were all absolutely dialed in.
At the end of the day, it all came down to this simple, powerful truth. It's the lesson that saved this family farm, and it's a piece of wisdom that I think resonates far beyond the farm gate. If you take care of your cows, they'll take care of you.